Okay, so a little something different this time for one of my videos. I'm actually at Vespa Vintage Days in Los Gatos, California. So over in Northern California. I'm here with my Vespa and I'm going to show you what's here for the concourse. Maybe a little lesson on Vespas. I've been messing around with vintage Vespas for about 25 years now. I even had a scooter shop for about 10 years in North Hollywood, if you don't know that. And I'm actually going to be judging, one of the judges for the show today, but we haven't started judging yet, and I'm going to show you what's here. And so you may get a little lesson if you've ever been interested in Vespas, or if you're just you own Vespas, who knows. So let's go check it out. So I'm just going to quickly show the whole line of scooters. They're supposed to be arranged like 70s and then 60s and 50s. Over there, there's even a 1946, which is the oldest Vespa in the United States. That's here. And then there's a bunch over there that aren't in the concourse. We actually did a nice ride through the mountains here. You can see we're up in the hills. You can check out the view over here. Up in the mountains near Los Gatos at a winery. So there's plenty of wine to go around. These events are always really fun, and this is vintage only. No one's supposed to bring any modern Vespa scooters like the automatic ones. So I'm going to do it probably in the opposite chronological order, since there's people hanging out down there, and when we get down there I'll try to explain as much as possible. But right now there's nobody hanging out over here, so this is a good time to shoot these bikes. So we're going to start. This is actually a 1980 P200E. Now my first Vespa was a white 1980 P200E way back in the 90s. I used to call them P2 Commons because you used to find them all the time. Not as easy to find these days. These are great if you're looking to get into a vintage scooter. A P200E is probably one of your better ones to get into because it's the parts are available. They actually made this basic body up until a few years ago. And they're very reliable, 12-volt lighting, so it's nice and bright. Electronic ignition, you don't have to worry about points, that sort of thing. Not as cool as some of the more old school Vespas, but still, it's a great bike. This is a Rally 200, not sure what year it is. These were in the late 70s. This one's actually a 77. I've got a 76 myself that I've owned since 1998. I bought it, and it was a show bike. Won awards back in the day. Of course, now it's showing some wear. And of course, it's sitting in my garage collecting dust. So I need to get it out again because it looks very similar to this one. It's a red one with the white stripes down the side. And these were among the first with electronic ignition, was the Rally 200s, getting away from points. And they actually put electronic down the side. So a lot of people that have these actually think they're electric scooters. Like you'll be riding around, oh, it's an electric scooter. It's like, it just means it has electronic, and that's what Vespa put on the side to denote that. There's another P200E in the cobalt blue. And this one's actually a little bit of a custom. This is a Sprint Veloce 150, and he's added a front disc brake to it, so there's the caliper for that. Most of these have drum in the front. The vintage ones were all drum brake, and they didn't really come out till disc brake till probably about 20 years ago on them. So there's that one. This one's it says the 98 PX200. And of course, these are all two-stroke. So most of your modern ones are four-stroke that you see that you can buy new. The ones they've sold here since around 2000, 2001, other than the 50 cc's. And they did do a run of PX 150s in 2005 that were still two-stroke. It was a 73 Rally 180. And this one, I talked to the guy, he's actually just finished it. So this is a brand new restoration. You can see he's got a disc brake fork on it. So he's added disc brake, mounted the caliper under the headset there. And he's got like an SIP, which is SIP is like a big company in Germany that does a lot of performance stuff for scooters. And he's got a nice SIP custom speedometer on it. And this is a Supersport 180, getting back to the 1960s. I actually, in 2002, rode a Supersport 180 scooter to Alaska, but it wasn't in this condition. It was kind of a beat up one. But these were the last of the piston ported models that basically use about a 5% mix of two-stroke oil. All right, I had to stop the video for a while because I got a little loud when they were giving out free t-shirts. So this is a GS160. We got like a bunch of, we got like 4 GS160 white ones here. This one's a Mark II, so it means does not have a glove box on the back. That it's a 63. So mine's a 62. This is a Mark 1. So this one's got the glove box on the back, as well as Gabe's Mark 1. I've known Gabe for like a million years. So, yes. So
putting your sunglasses.
So yeah, you can put your sunglasses, and that's about it. Like that's about all. They realized it was a bad idea. It's the only Vespa where they did that, and there's definitely a reason for it. So this one's a 63. I used to have a 64 Mark II years ago that was all original, and these came with the glove box behind the leg shield there. But some of the Mark 1s in the U.S. they sold with the leg shield in the back, as well as behind the leg shield. Mine doesn't have it, so I don't get to carry any tools or anything. So whatever. But yep, I need a rack. I don't have a rack. I just have
the correct.
Yeah, there usually has like a knob that you turn.
Has the nipple.
Yeah, he has the knob that you turn.
That's the one thing I need to make this thing complete.
Complete.
The correct line.
Yeah. And it's got a rack. I've actually got a rack that would fit that, but I just haven't put it on.
I brought a suitcase, so I needed the rack. Otherwise, I don't.
Yeah. But this one's mine. It's all original paint. From it was actually sold new in Pasadena, where I live, and it's only got 8,800 miles on it. So it's got very low miles. It does have some nicks and scratches, but it's original paint, original license plate from an original dealer license plate frame from Pasadena on it. And this is Gabe's. His is all original paint too. And he had the story on it. I believe he said he originally came out of like Wyoming or something like that. And another one, I believe this one's actually this one's a Mark II as well, GS 160. And then this one's actually a GL 150. All right, continuing on our tour of the scooter show. This one's actually a GS 150 VS5. So this is the 150 GS that was before the 160 GS, like the ones we just saw. These, generally, if you're looking at a vintage scooter, this is probably not a good first scooter for you. These are a little bit on the maintenance intensive side. I've only ever had one of these, and it was in pieces when I bought it, and when I sold it, it was in pieces. But these are very collectible and a very desirable model. And this is actually interesting. This is the oldest Vespa in the United States. It's a 1946, which was the first year Vespa came out. And I believe it's the only 1946 model in the United States. And these didn't come with a center stand, which is why there's no center stand on it. And it was restored by Rolf, who was a friend of mine, and pretty much everybody knew him. He actually lived here in Los Gatos. And he found this. He actually worked for Vespa USA, and somebody saw his truck that said Vespa on the side and said, hey, I've got one of those. And he bought it and then had it fully restored. It's changed hands a few hands, and now Josh Rogers owns it. He runs the Vespa Club of America, and it's even got a historic plaque from the registry there on the leg shield. And it's absolutely priceless, as you can imagine. And it's very nice to see it restored. And this is actually an Allstate. Now the Allstate's actually considered a U.S. Vespa. They were made in Italy, but they were made for Sears and Roebuck, and they sold these through the Sears catalog. I've owned a few of these. I don't have any currently. This one's a 52. I've had a 51 and a 52 and a 57, similar to this. And Sears actually sold Vespas up until the late 60s. The later ones say Sears on them. But this one's actually an early one. These are called handlebar bikes because they've got the exposed metal handlebars versus like the headset style. And this one's a 55. This is closer to the 57 I used to have, that I used to actually ride quite a bit. And so seeing this brings back a lot of memories. And these are actually sold kind of like bare bones, no speedometer. You could actually buy a speedometer for it. He's got the buddy seat. These didn't originally come with the buddy seat or the spare tire. Those were all optional extras. My 57 had the spare tire on the back, no buddy seat. And my 51 had no accessories, and my 52 had just the spare tire on the back. But you can actually swap these tires out on Vespas because they're single-sided, so they're very easy to swap out. This is really his Christian's bike. He runs Bar Italia Classics down in Los Angeles. I've known him a long time. This is actually a Faro Basso. It means it has the headlight on the fender. And these are from Italy. These were sold in Italy. They never sold bikes in the United States with the headlight on the fender. They were all up on the handlebar. But he runs a restoration shop for Vintage Vespas, so he restored this one. And this one is a VL3, so this is actually a 150cc. These were all 125, I believe, except for the 46, which is a 98. These were 125cc. The VLs were 150cc. This one's restored as well. This one's kind of more of like a modified to look like a factory racer handlebar bike. And he's got the white walls, and he's got the vintage faded paint on it. It's got a leather strap to hold the carburetor door and the panel on.
She's like, hey, are you gonna get that bike or not? And I was like, oh yeah, Josh Rogers with the Palm Springs.
So, okay, so that concludes our tour of all the vintage bikes here at Vintage Vespa Days in Los Gatos. These are all the bikes of the show. I believe we're going to have a lunch in a few here, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to have to judge it. Me and two other guys are actually going to have to judge these bikes. So I'll get back to the car videos. Hopefully I'll have something up for you next week, maybe on the Ranchero, maybe another show. I really don't know. But until next time, I'll be seeing you.